with his father King Charles for there to be an Act of Parliament introduced at Westminster to jettison not just Prince Andrew, Beatrice and Eugenie, but also Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie and Lily once and for all. The growing scandal engulfing the British royal family has overshadowed for King Charles what was meant to be a historic visit.
Because for me, the most important thing in my life is family, and everything is about the future.
Prince William stood at the palace gates while cameras flashed everywhere. The world had seen the royal family fight before, but never like this. What people used to whisper about in secret was now on every news headline. The heir draws the line, and Duke and Duchess accused of using their children's titles were everywhere. This was a huge family fight that the whole world was watching. When the news broke, everyone saw that the royal family wasn't getting along. Inside the palace, Prince William was very angry. For months, he stayed quiet while Harry and Meghan did interviews and made documentaries. But this time was different. This time, it was about the children. And for William, that was going too far.
Once been whispered behind brocade curtains, was now splashed across every headline in London and beyond.
The problem started with a fancy magazine article. It showed Harry and Meghan with their 2 young kids in a California garden that looked very royal. The article said the children were modern royals living in both Hollywood and the royal world. But the photos weren't the biggest problem. A few days later, Meghan's new business showed a fancy logo with intertwined letters and a small crown. To most people, it looked like smart branding. To the palace, it looked like she was breaking the rules. That little crown symbol meant something she wasn't supposed to use. Within hours, royal watchers noticed it. Twitter went crazy. People talked about every tiny detail. Did she really use the children's titles for her business logo? One reporter said on live TV.
They didn't want him to have any of the pomp because they wanted him to live a life as normal as possible. So that the timeline is important because Archie's born.
The question spread like wildfire, and by morning it was a huge scandal. In California, Harry's team said it was just a coincidence and a family design, not an official royal symbol. But in the old world of royal rules, there are no coincidences. Every design and every word matters, and William knew that. Behind closed doors, people said he was furious. It's not just about misusing the symbol, one helper said. Titles aren't for making money, they're responsibilities, not fashion accessories. The fight between the brothers had always been personal. One followed the rules, the other rebelled. But now it was public and couldn't be fixed. William's advisors met early in the morning to look at old royal rules. No royal had ever tried to use their children's titles to make money before.
Across the Atlantic, the Harry's camp dismissed it as coincidence, claiming it was a family-inspired design.
Just thinking about it challenged everything the monarchy stood for the balance between having privileges and serving others. By midday, news reached the government. Important leaders were told that the palace was very worried about royals using their identity to sell things. This wasn't just a family fight anymore. It was a question about how the monarchy should work. While William struggled with his duty, Harry and Meghan seemed unbothered. They went about their normal California life. Photographers caught them leaving a private club, smiling and looking calm, almost too calm on purpose. But insiders said that behind those smiles, they were worried. Meghan had made a mistake. The anger wasn't just in Britain. American news shows, which used to support them, started to turn against them. Is royalty becoming a brand? One morning show host asked. And if so, what does that say about being real? Even Hollywood PR experts whispered nervously.
Are needed over Prince Andrew's behaviour, and not just in terms of the allegations against him sexually.
The power couple's reputation, once built on being independent, now seemed tangled up with the very titles they said they wanted to escape. Then Prince William made his move. Days after the controversy got really big, he appeared at a charity event. He didn't give an interview or make a statement, he just showed up. But when he spoke at the podium, his carefully chosen words cut through all the noise. In this family, he said, titles are not decorations. They are honors earned through service, never for sale, never for show. He didn't name his brother, he didn't have to. The audience clapped loudly, and the quote went viral instantly. Within hours, British newspapers called it a royal scolding heard around the world. The message was clear, William had drawn his line. Across the ocean, Harry reportedly read the quote silently. His wife, however, was upset.
In this family, he said, titles are not ornaments.
According to sources close to them, she felt betrayed and blindsided by what she saw as an attack disguised as being good. He knows how the press will twist this, she allegedly said. He's helping them do it. This was the start of another storm, not between governments, but between two different ideas of what royalty should be. To William, being royal meant being quiet and careful, with power used privately and dignity protected strongly. To Harry and Meghan, it meant reinventing themselves, breaking free from tradition, and telling their own story. But somewhere between those ideas, the world forgot about the children, the very reason this battle started. In the days after, the palace's lawyers met privately. Some suggested quietly changing the children's official titles, limiting how they could be used publicly. "We can't look mean," one senior helper warned. The monarchy must stay above the drama. Still, the conversation had started.
Dukedoms and HRHs formally revoked, according to the Daily Beast, by Prince William.
The unthinkable was being discussed, taking away the children's royal titles completely. When that rumor reached California, the response was explosive. "They can't take away what's theirs by birth," Meghan reportedly said angrily. "Those titles belong to them as much as anyone else's children." But palace watchers saw it differently. "Birthright means nothing without the institution that gives it," one veteran royal historian said. "If you reject the crown, you reject what it gives you." And suddenly, the debate became deeper. Could someone truly be both a royal and a celebrity? Could privilege be turned into money without cheapening it? Could heritage survive in a world obsessed with branding? While the internet argued, William stayed silent, but insiders said his patience was running out. One close friend told the press the divide was complete not just between two brothers, but between two worlds. One rooted in centuries of quiet power, the other driven by cameras, content, and control.
Others urged restraint, fearing it would look punitive.
As royal experts began whispering that the king himself was quietly supporting his older son's position, one thing became clear. This wasn't just a feud, it was a turning point in royal history. Because, for the first time in generations, the question wasn't who would inherit the crown. It was whether the crown itself could survive being turned into a brand. And somewhere, behind the golden gates of Buckingham and the California palm trees of Montecito, both brothers were preparing for the next move, knowing very well that this time there would be no peace. The world woke to chaos. Overnight, news from London to Los Angeles exploded with coverage of the feud. Headlines screamed about William's scolding, Harry and Meghan's branding scandal, and most importantly, the future of the children caught in the middle. Social media churned like a stormy sea, with commentators, celebrities, and ordinary people picking sides. Hashtags trended faster than anyone could track.
While the internet argued, the heir stayed silent, but insiders said his patience was thinning. One close confidant told the press
Royal
focus
divide,
feature showing
titles,
Harry and Meghan
controversy,
with their two young children
monarchy or media,
seated in a California
every
garden
gif,
that looked
every
deliberately
snippet
regal.
of William's speech,
The tone of the
every
piece was
photo of the
unmistakable.
children in the garden was
children were
analyzed
modern
and debated.
royals,
Inside
straddling
the
both
palace,
worlds.
William
Hollywood
remained calm, but his helpers worked day and night. Experts called it the perfect storm of public attention, but also a chance. Every press leak and every online rumor was being carefully watched. "We can't respond too aggressively," one senior helper warned. The more the world sees, the more sympathy swings back and forth. Timing is everything. Across the Atlantic, Harry and Meghan were frantically planning.
Was quietly backing
Meghan,
his elder
long
son's
praised
position,
for staying calm,
one
was now
thing
described by
became clear.
insiders
This
as
wasn't
tense,
just a feud.
focused, and
it was
relentless.
an inflection point in
She
royal
knew the media
history,
story could either
because for the
crush her
first
or
time in
lift her up.
generations,
Her team
the
worked
question
hard
wasn't
to craft
who would
a
inherit the
counterattack,
crown.
a campaign,
It was whether
not
the
just
crown
defending
itself
themselves,
could survive
but
being turned
transforming
into a
their
brand.
image.
And somewhere
The first step was
behind the
subtle.
golden